We are back on Shattered Darkness, another amazing week, and we're just super grateful to be here and be doing this. This is obviously a major passion for all of us. So, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in, for listening, for the support, for everything. We've just been getting so much incredible feedback lately, and we really, really appreciate it. So, again, our biggest platform that we're driving right now is YouTube. But you can find us on YouTube, Spotify. We release shorts on Facebook, Instagram, all the good stuff. So, we have a special guest with us here today. So I'm gonna let Elliot, our producer, who is first time on camera, dude. We're excited.
Thanks, Mitch.
So, we're gonna let him introduce our guest.
Good to be here. I'm usually in the background scene, so I'm a little nervous being on camera this time. But today we have Nadia Zelenbaba. She has an amazing story. In short, I've kind of described her story as, personally for my addiction, it was a slow escalator ride to addiction. And I say that Nadia's story was more like a rocket ship that happened very rapidly. So, yeah. How you doing, Nadia?
I'm doing so good. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me and having me on.
Absolutely.
I'm a little nervous, but if a little bit of nerves is not a bad thing.
You're stepping outside your comfort zone, right?
Exactly.
It's good. I'll tell you, man, when we started this thing, if it wasn't for Aaron, we never would have gotten this far. Because I just could not watch myself on camera. So I get it. I totally get it. But, we just kind of want to hear a little bit of your backstory, where you're from, things like that. So we'll kind of let you pick up wherever you'd like to start.
Okay. So I was born in Colorado Springs, Colorado. My parents got divorced when I was really young. I have one biological sister who's 3 years younger than me. And then now I have 5 other sisters, 3 stepsisters on my dad's side, 2 stepsisters on my mom's side. But I feel like I had a pretty decent childhood. I don't think there's any such thing as like a normal family.
Totally. I totally agree.
There is no normal family. All families have their own trauma, but I feel very blessed that like I grew up with a lot of love and but I never felt like really I never felt like I fit in somewhere. And I was held to a really high standard. I was like the golden child of the family. And so I've always been really hard on myself. But I kind of like got into, I like drank normally in high school, I feel like. Except for I didn't drink normally because I would like drink and then throw up and then drink more. And no one else was like doing that.
Yeah.
Everyone else stopped.
Can I back up just a little bit? I want to ask you a couple of questions about your parents.
Yeah.
You said that they just had high expectations of you. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, did they expect you to be a doctor, or like, what did that look like?
I was expected to get really good grades.
Okay.
And
was it only you? Like, was it your other siblings too, or just only you?
no, it was my other siblings, but I think that I internalized it so much, that I never like stopped holding myself to like a standard of perfection. Whereas like my little sister, she was always kind of like the wild child, and like it's not like she did bad in school, but I had nightmares in like 3rd grade about getting B's. Like bees would chase me in my dream. And, and I went to therapy for a very short period of time. But I held myself to this standard of like, I need to be perfect. I need to have friends. I need to have extracurriculars, and I need to get good grades, and never get in trouble.
So that label was put on you pretty early.
It was, yeah. And I think also like talented and gifted programs kind of breed anxiety.
Totally. I was just going to ask you about anxiety.
Yeah, I have, definitely anxiety. Which it just has gotten worse through my life, and now I feel like I have it pretty well managed. But even in college, like I had so much anxiety because I would like wake up nervous and then I would be sick like immediately as soon as I woke up. And I lost a lot of weight and I was just very unhealthy. And I went on a whole like goose chase because the doctors like were like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "I think I have anxiety." And they're like, "We don't know." And eventually when I was put on some sort of like I think I was put on sertraline. And that then I stopped throwing up in the mornings and I was like, this makes sense. Like,
Was it hard for you to accept medication?
yes.
Yeah. Why?
My mom kind of instilled that in me. And we've had conversations about it now, where it's like, yes, medication is not bad in all cases. I don't want to depend on anything. Like, and I do to an extent, but it doesn't like change my entire mood. And I still have like some spouts where I'm like, no, I don't want to take it. Like, I don't want to depend on this. And then my counselor had said like, okay, so like you don't have to work extra hard. Like this isn't a bad thing to be on some sort of mood stabilizer that just makes it a little bit easier. Like, it doesn't erase your hard work. And I appreciated that. But I knew some people beforehand that they're like, I'm on this and this and this and this and this and this. Like it was almost like a pride thing to like need to be on so many different types of medication. And I don't really adhere to that. Like,
well, it plays into a victim mentality, right?
yeah.
Curious on that. What would, and you don't have to get into your specific stuff that you're talking to the therapist because we don't care, but what in that world do people suggest doing to work to get off of medication? Or is there, like, maybe your mom's perspective?
Well, and I was going to say, maybe you can't answer that question too.
So we don't want to like get into what you two talk about, but in your perspective, what things are there out there to help people get off of medication?
I think like the things that people like that I learned in rehab and stuff, like coping skills. I think diet is a huge piece of mental health too. Like it is like the physical and the mental and like the spiritual, emotional, all of those things go together. So I think diet, like some sort of movement, mindful movement, meditation, and then enjoying myself and working. What I've really benefited from is working the program personally. Like I'm always trying to grow and I always want to my goal is to get to a place where I don't think so much about how other people perceive me. And as
Everybody.
That's a hard place to get to, though. I get that.
it is really difficult. I've made progress and I've made strides, but it's definitely still there. And I think to like address like your question, I don't think that there always needs to be a goal to get off of medication. Like I was
More. Why?
because I was at that point where I was like, I have all these coping skills, like I can handle it. And I could. Like I wasn't throwing up in the mornings but it made my life so much harder. There's so much more energy that I can put into other like growth mindset rather than like a maintenance mindset. Rather than just like making it so like I wasn't sick all the time and my head wasn't always spinning like, and I have to do all these coping skills and I have to make myself feel better because I have these tools. And when I take my medication, it lowers, like I have more energy to be like, okay, where do I want to move forward? Rather than like, how do I survive right now?
Well, I appreciate you helping me understand that because I think there's also arguments on the other side that taking medication is just maintaining, right? Because you don't want to be on that, or I shouldn't say it that way, but the argument could be you don't want to be on that forever. You want to eventually grow past that.
Yeah.
But then at the same time,
if you can, dude, like there's people that are bipolar.
No, I know. I'm just saying. It's nice to hear it. That kind of get inside of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to help, with the freaking student people who don't have that.
And
I just want to ask a question.
I totally see that, and like my like the dosage that I have has decreased significantly.
Well, and honestly, this is like I'm on all kinds of shit, and it's like I was diagnosed mildly bipolar, and I've had to get to a place where it's like, even my psychiatrist told me, like, some people just need to be on it, like for you specifically, like the way that your brain operates and the amount of dopamine that your brain produces, it causes a lot of issues in your life. And I think you hit the nail on the head with how you said that, right? Like, I'll never forget. One of my counselors asked me this question in rehab, and they were like, do you manufacture your emotions? And I was like, holy shit. Like, I couldn't answer it. It made me go to such a deep place in my heart, and it was like, I think I finally landed on, I manufactured happiness, but I felt so much negativity and anxiety and like fear and things like that was just the focus of my world. Because I was trying to constantly mitigate that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, my counselor in rehab, I try to present myself in a very like specific way, and I always have. So when the first time I met with him, I was like, yeah, like this is going on, and like this is who I am, and I have a problem, but like I feel really good about it. He's like, so it sounds like you keep a lot of secrets. And I was like, oh my gosh, like how did you know that? And he was like, and it sounds like you hold yourself to a standard of perfection. And I'm like, why are you seeing through me right now? Like, and I really realized how much I've done that, and like it's still a battle. And I think that is the thing that I am working on the most right now, is like not having to be this like everything is wonderful and I'm always in a good mood and I always can lift people up, because like sometimes that's just not my reality.
Yeah.
So but it's difficult because there are so many rewards, I think, from having that be the way that I present.
I completely agree with you. And if I was the person, this is why I love mental health so much, right? Like neuroplasticity. It's why I started, like, at 40 years old, I'm trying to learn how to play an instrument, right? Like, it all goes into that stuff, and the more that you can do things that are outside of your brains, like what you normally do, I think that you can really create neuroplasticity and maybe change the structure of how your brain operates,
Yeah.
And so, and I think it's like, we're just starting to really understand the forefront of that stuff. So I think what you said is perfect, like along the medication thing, and we know where you're at with this. Like, you're very like, and I get it, dude. Like, there's so many people, right, that probably don't need to be on it. They use it as a Band-Aid, and could probably function without it. And I think to those people, yes, you need to be, working towards a goal of getting off of something like that. And especially if it's, controlling kind of your life and things like, I don't want to be dependent on things either, but it's just kind of my reality right now.
I think that's just where the thoughts go, is you shouldn't rely. I mean, you should really never rely on anybody or anything in general.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to be self-sufficient to go. Now there's supplements, things like that can help, right? People that can help, what you eat, all those kinds of things. I guess what I'm saying is your input creates your output.
Yeah.
But dude,
But if you boil it down to simply just that.
Yeah.
And you're right, but what if your input is chaos all the time? And you really, there's not a lot of, like, as a bipolar person, I can't necessarily control that.
I think what I'm going at is what goes into your mind.
Yep.
If it's, okay, I'll let you just use our phones for example. If you're always looking at negative things or people being mean or pranks or things like that, you're going to generally be a negative and think pranks are funny.
Yeah, no, I
Or if you're watching positive things, not necessarily like everything is sunshine and rainbows, but positive, then you're going to generally speak positive.
yes.
How your brain interprets it in the middle, that's a world that I just don't relate to because I don't understand.
Yeah, and I think that there's definitely something to be said about that. And it's like I don't want to rely on anything either. But at this point in my life, I don't feel like I rely on my medication, but I think that it assists me.
It's a tool.
Yeah. And that's really what it is if there's an end goal of being completely where you want to be, that's what we should work towards, not just because I don't see you as that. I think the other people that we're talking about are just there because they just want to maintain.
Yeah.
This is all I am, instead of thinking, no, I can be better than this. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, and I like that you said that because something that my sponsor has told me that I've really like wanted to live by is I cannot coast.
Yeah.
Like there is no coasting for me. I'm either growing, even if it's minuscule, or I'm regressing. And so I always have to have that sort of growth mindset wherever I'm at. And personally, like just with the person that I am, I like to have growth that I can see. Like
It's tangible.
yeah, like I mean, when I first got sober, like rehab is like, whew, like you grow a lot.
Right.
And it feels so intense. And I think that that's where like a lot of the pink cloud comes from. But then when I look back, I'm like, I grew so much from 1 month to 3 to 3 to 6, so on and so forth. It's like even I like hitting my year into now, like I feel like I have grown so much and really come into my own. And I know that I'm going to feel that same way in 3 months because I put that effort into myself. And
Awesome.
thank you.
That's
Dude,
all
that's and yeah, and dude, that's amazing. Like I'm in the same place, right, mentally, and dude, I can identify so much with what you've said already because I feel like I'm almost the exact same way. You know, great household, great family life. You know, all of those kinds of things, but just overwhelming anxiety and depression and things like that. So, and I always had that. Ever since I was a kid.
Yeah, there was a meditation that I did, I think it was probably a month ago, where they led us through and you're supposed to like talk to your childhood self and like imagine your childhood self feeling the way you did now. And my feeling was like, I'm not enough. And when people were sharing about it, a lot of people were like, I couldn't even put that on my childhood self. Like, I don't want her to ever feel that way, which makes a lot of sense. And I was like, that made like, it was easy for me to feel like that. And like, I didn't put that on my childhood self. Like my childhood self did feel that. Yeah. Like that has been an internal wound for as long as I can remember of like, I am not enough. I need to be perfect to be loved.
Do you think that was biological, or do you think that came from something?
I think I really do think it was biological, because even my parents, like as much pressure as like sometimes they did put on me, I put that on myself, and they've always been like, you need to chill the out, bro. Like, like, where is all of this coming from? Like, we're gonna love you no matter what. And I'm like, no. Like, I don't know why I can't like let go of that. Like, they will hate me. They will not love me. Like, and even my addiction was like very clear that they did because they stuck by me. But yeah, it was definitely a switch because then like my addiction came in. And I was like, now the problem child, and that.
So go back in your story a little bit, right? I think where we were, just keep continuing your story. Like your anxiety thing, school, and then probably leading into addiction.
Yeah. So I never drank normally because I would like get sick. And also in high school, like when I kind of dabbled in it, I'd bring it to school, and then I was like, this doesn't feel normal. Like, I'm going to maybe stop this.
How quickly did you realize that it helped? with all of those emotions? Like immediately?
Instantaneously. Like it just was like, oh, this feels awesome. And the way my brain works, and same with because that was what I really started with. Like my senior year, I just kind of got into that, like a friendship where we smoked together, and then I was doing it every day, and I was doing it at school. And with that, I didn't see that like intense downfall. Like I could still function,
Right.
and but like now I am sober from that as well. I just could see that clarity when I was off of it. But yeah, it was, I could feel it. And the way my brain works is like, this feels good. Why would I not do this all the time? Like this, it doesn't make sense that I wouldn't feel this way all the time.
Well, do you think there's some subconscious programming that happens there too? You know, because you spent so much of your life just feeling pain and anxiety, and all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like this programming in your subconscious that's like wants to go back to it continually.
I do. And even when it wasn't like perfect, it's always that like chasing that initial like,
Yeah.
I guess. And so yeah, I never saw a reason to not do it
Right.
when I got a hold of it. I didn't drink for 5 months after I turned 21 because I thought I was going to be an alcoholic.
Nailed it.
I know. And people were like, no, like that's crazy talk. But I was telling Elliot in the car, like, I got addicted to Jersey Mike's, and I had the same sandwich every single day for 3 weeks. Like,
Dude, you might be the woman version of me. Like, for real. This is crazy.
that's so. I'm like, I have an addictive personality, and when I've heard like that doesn't really exist, and I'm like, I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, yeah, like because I can get addicted to anything. I just like that comfort and that routine.
Well, I think it's interesting too, everybody that I've interacted with in active addiction or in recovery, the common thread of not feeling enough.
Like enough? Like you are enough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the fact that drugs, essentially, because alcohol's a drug.
Period.
Yeah. That's a guaranteed thing that will always bring results, and it becomes a relationship with it in itself.
Dude, it's instantaneous. You don't
Yeah,
have
it
to do
always accepts
You
you
don't have to work for it.
no matter what happens.
The only work you got to do is to find it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and I think in control is another thing that like is such a common thread, and that is something that I could control. Like I couldn't control my actions on it, and I couldn't control eventually, like quickly, I couldn't control that I needed it, but I could control the fact that I was doing it.
Yeah.
I guess, if that makes sense.
It does and it doesn't, right? Like that's definitely an alcoholic brain thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
where it's like, yeah, you're in your alcoholic brain, like this makes total sense, right? But in reality, it's just like you're just poisoning yourself.
Yeah.
And just making things so much worse and compounding all of the negativity, right?
Yeah.
So were you 21 when you started drinking?
Yeah, I mean, I drank like on occasion,
Okay.
but it was never like, oh, I'm gonna have a glass of wine. It was like, I'm gonna get up.
Yeah.
And but I wanted to, like, after like 5 months, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. Like my mom is a normal drinker, and she's like such a wine mom, and I really look up to her. So I was like, I want to be like a classy wine lady, and I was never a classy wine lady.
Right.
Like I don't think I ever had less than 2 glasses, and that was like rare. But within a week of like buying alcohol to have like a little bit after work, it was like then a bottle and then 2 bottles, and then it got too expensive, so then I switched to shooters, and then I was like, oh, there's there's a lot, like, I need to maybe regulate. And so then I did the whole, like, I'm only going to buy this amount of shooters and that's what I will have for the day. And then I would always go back and get more. And it was such a quick tumble.
Wow. Like months?
Like
Weeks?
1 month.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, like 1 month to the point where then I was like trying to regulate. And people noticed. And also I feel like I was really self-aware and I was like, I know I'm drinking too much. And something that I always used when I was in high school and stuff to like not get in trouble is I would tell half truths. Like I would tell enough to the point where like, oh, she's not going to lie to us because this could get her in trouble. But I would only tell them like the little bit of it to where like if I did get in trouble, it was going to be like a pretty minuscule consequence.
Right.
And so I told people like, I think I'm drinking too much, but I think it's just a phase. Which I think was really a big piece of my downfall because it was not a phase. And then I quickly like had all of the alcoholic behaviors, hiding, lying, doing it alone, which I already was doing a lot. But it was so quick. Like I don't even remember the like 2 weeks that I was like maybe drinking normally because it really was never like that. And I was quickly a 24/7 as well because again it was like, why would I not always feel this way? So I would drink before school and I was like, yeah, it makes me talk more, like it makes me more confident and I participated more. And
It's fun. You see the benefits, right? It's like you see the benefits of it right away and not necessarily the downside.
Yeah.
Perceived benefits.
Yes, that was brought up to me
actually,
recently.
dude, the thing, and I would say that I agree with you. At a point in my life, I was like, yeah, dude, like this is totally helping me become a better version of myself.
Yeah, like I really believed that. And sometimes I even have to be reminded that like that is that perceived notion. Because I was like, I was in an a cappella group. Thank you for like, I've been in singing my whole life. But
Seriously?
yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I love that.
But in college, that a cappella group, I was in it like for 2 years and I had so much social anxiety. I didn't really feel like I had friends there. Like they were all my friends, but it's not like I just didn't have the confidence to like share myself and talk. Right. And then I did. And so I think I had mentioned to one of my coworkers, like, yeah, I think it did like help me make friends. And they were like, did it, or were you just talking?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that's like a really good point. Like I don't even remember it. So was that friendship really worth it?
Yeah, to relate to that, I was a manager at restaurants and I was front of the house. I was always a kitchen guy where if you wanted to just kind of chill and not talk for a whole shift, you could. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, oh, if I drink, I'm more like outgoing or whatever. And I could talk to all the tables and do what I was supposed to do. I remember thinking like walking away from like a good conversation, make people laugh. Right. You gotta take a shot. Like, I'm gonna be so much better. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, hey.
And then you hit that limit and you're like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's crazy. So how long was it from the time that you started drinking to the time that you ended up in rehab?
A year.
Really?
Like a little bit. I think actually a little bit under a year. I remember October being the month where I was like, this is the phase end. Like, and I went to rehab in August.
whose choice?
Yours.
This is a complicated question because it wasn't my choice, but it was. My parents basically gave me an ultimatum and they said, you're either going to go to rehab for a month or you're going to come home and be babysat by your mom for 6 months, be attached to her hip. And I was like, whoa, 1 month, 6 months, like I want to get my life back. And so I chose the 1 month, and I'm really grateful that they gave me that choice because although it was an ultimatum, I do feel like I did make the choice to like seek true help.
Were you ready at that point, do you think? Like, were you resentful towards your parents for pushing you down this road?
Oh wait, dude, she made the choice and went. Now she's sober.
Yeah, but I know,
No.
but still at the onset of that, like,
I think
I was kind of resentful towards my wife a little bit, you know?
I don't know if resentful is the right word. Like, I remember begging, like, no, can I just do outpatient?
Yeah.
Like, and I was also really upset. Like, I remember that night before I went into rehab, and I like did not want to wake up. Like, I had like that passive suicide ideation where like I was like, I just don't want to wake up, because I knew the jig was up. Like, I knew that I was going to have to face all of these things that I was drinking to forget. So, I wasn't like fully ready, but I also was. Like, I don't want to feel this way
It's the
anymore.
weirdest place to be because I can totally relate to that, you know? And honestly, it's just my daughter crying. It just broke me, you know? And it was at that point, I'm like, I'll do anything I have to.
Yeah.
So,
And I went to treatment, and immediately, like, I feel like my perception shifted, because I had never felt understood before. Like, I felt so alone, and there was so much shame. And I got there, and people were asking me to like sit with them, and like they understood, and they had a lot of the same like feelings and stories that I did. And I was like, wow, like I feel seen and I feel understood. It was a huge switch.
and finally, it's like, and it's you're unloading all of that darkness, right? That you've been hiding your life forever.
Yeah.
Because you just perceive the people around you like they're not struggling with this, you know? When really probably 30-40% of the people walking around you were,
Yes.
you know? And so I think that, like, I actually, opposite for me, like, rehab, dude, I didn't say for like 2 weeks, but I also did 3 months of outpatient. And then my counselor's like, dude, why are you even here? Like, you just gave us all this money and you're not engaging in it,
Yeah.
you know? And so that one kind of clicked with me, and I started to tell my story a little bit more. But that was very much the same thing. Like, I finally, for the first time in my life, was like, oh, like, people aren't going to judge me for all this bullshit.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Relieving, like, super relieving. It's like this weight is just lifted off your soul, dude. Like,
It is.
you know, and it's like, it's honestly, it's as close to like a spiritual awakening. I think a spiritual awakening is a little bit more intense, but it's just this massive revelation that, one, you're not alone. And then, dude, you sit around these tables of people and just talk about the most up shit.
I know. And like
know?
laugh about
And they
it.
laugh about it, right? And you're just like, okay. And they completely normalize all of the chaos in our minds and in our hearts,
Yes.
you know? And that was the piece of it that I think I loved the most.
I agree. And like people's brains like kind of worked the same way that I did.
Yeah.
And like I was like, whoa, like I feel seen. And I felt for the first time like an inkling of that I am enough. Like I don't have to hate myself because of all of this.
When you start to find this confidence, you know, and it's just this small little spark, right? And it was started with like speaking up in the group, you know, and then people would be like, oh, that's a good point, you know, and it's like a little chunk of confidence there, like, okay, I'm moving in the right direction,
Yes.
you know, and then you keep grabbing those things and keep going and keep going. And
it's healthy approval, you know.
exactly, yes, exactly.
Versus like when you're in active addiction, you're accepted because you're one of them
Yeah.
doing the thing. But, you know, in the moment,
Right.
you know, hindsight, Captain Hindsight, you know, that guy, fuck that guy, but I was like, at the
2020,
same time, yeah.
Elliot, what was that moment for you?
Oh,
The unloaded the backpack, like, you know, it was hurt. You know, Mitch is
like the
a couple
emotional,
weeks.
yeah, the emotional
The unload
release.
that you could finally be vulnerable enough to talk about it, and how did that feel?
honestly, because Nadia and I met in rehab at North Point, and that was my second rehab I had gone to. So the first one, I did not want to go. I went there for the wrong reasons. When I went the second time, I went there for the right reasons. I was in legal trouble, and I had a spiritual awakening in jail, which whenever we shoot my episode, we'll
I'm
dive
excited
into
about
that
that.
a little bit.
Motorcycles and Jesus.
And so when I went into North Point, I kind of knew what to expect because it was my second time around. But I was ready to do it this time. I wasn't doing it for the wrong reasons, and it's really, well, like I just said, like when you start connecting with people on a more healthy level of, well, this happened to me, oh, that happened to me too, and then sharing instead of despair, like the Four Horsemen, essentially. I can't remember. You probably remember it off the top of your head, because you brought your book.
I do, and I have a page bookmark.
But sharing experience, strength, and hope with each other instead of the despair and,
terror, bewilderment, frustration, and despair.
yeah. And that's what a lot of active addiction is.
Yep.
Is just actively sharing the Four Horsemen that the big book talks about. My sponsor talks about that. If you sit down at any bar, most people will go through step 4 in AA, but they won't ever resolve it.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
They'll go through that every single day, but they never get to a resolution of it.
That's fair. I remember when I worked my step 4.
What is step 4?
Step 4 is made a thorough inventory of
You're wrong.
like
trying to rectify it, basically.
yeah, and it was like
When
up your
it's helpful.
resentments. And that first week that I did it, where I had to just write it down, I was like, this is the week that I get to blame everybody else for my problems. Because but then I also knew that like the next week it was gonna be like, all right, so where was I wrong?
Well, and that's part of step 4 is what's your role in all that. And so you're supposed to identify only your role, right? Which is why, like, if you listen to the first episode of this podcast, there's a lot of resentment in that episode still because I hadn't worked through it yet, and I blame a lot of things on my parents in that episode. And it's like, I would like to go back and re-record it with some of the things that I've learned, because of that. Like, I carried so much resentment for a long time. That's why step 4 was really important to me, especially with my family.
That's her. I'm really excited to like rework my step 4, because I have worked through so much forgiveness, and something that I've heard and like my mind was blown when I heard it was I always felt like I forgave people easily. But and then people will say like you can't truly forgive someone else if you haven't forgiven yourself. I'm like, it's not true. But it is, because as I've forgiven myself, it's been harder to excuse people's actions.
Exactly. Because you're not f***ed up anymore.
Yeah, because I'm like, I didn't
inside you're not
that.
feeling all that, like, I'm the worst piece of shit on planet Earth, right? So there's nothing that anybody can do to you that's as bad as what you're doing to yourself.
Exactly.
So it is easy to forgive, right? It's like, I can brush up it. I'm the exact same way, dude. Exact same way. I think it's driving my wife nuts. Because where I would brush things over in the past and just be like, whatever. Now I'm like, no, that's actually kind of a problem for me.
Yeah.
Like, we need to spend some time there and talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like you gain that confidence back. And instead of, just kind of rolling over, now you're like somebody that's like, no, you got to treat me like a person. Like, convince me.
Yeah,
right?
like I am a human being and I do deserve to be treated
That's a really
specific
good point.
way.
That's a really good point.
And it's rebuilding your ability to set boundaries.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah,
And weak boundaries is something common I've seen with myself and others I've met in recovery and active addiction. Just people that struggle with addiction is boundaries.
Yeah.
Because it's, people pleasing and weak boundaries. It's very common.
People pleasing is so complex. It's insane how complex it is. Like, it has that weak boundary, but also it's so selfish to people please. Like, when I worked through the program, I was like, I'm not selfish. Like, my problem is that I give myself away too much, but I people please because I want to control how others view me, and I take away people's right to choose whether or not they like me.
That's Jesus, dude. That is insanely insightful. Wow. Talk about the ultimate level of humility. That's crazy, man. Like that, I'm going to think about that for a while. Say that again. If you can.
Yeah, when you people please, like in adjust yourself to different people, and you take, essentially, you're taking away someone's right to choose whether or not they like you.
That's good. Wow.
Yeah, and when you chameleon in every room, you're essentially selling a version of you that isn't you.
That's
and
true.
in the act of that, you're losing internally who you are.
And that just,
I think,
that's crazy.
yes, when you chameleon, like a true chameleon, I don't think, like, I do think that goes into people pleasing. I think there's a difference between being a chameleon and kind of chameleoning to the room and like reading the room. It's just like when you play like Cards Against Humanity and you have to like put the cards down that you think that person is going to enjoy.
You know, most people don't know that in that game. They just play what they think is funny.
That's why I always lose.
Yeah. You gotta have your audience.
I know, dude. And I always am like, oh, I'm so good at reading people, and I'm like, that game every time.
So nothing else, listener. Now you know how to win a Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, exactly. But I think there is a difference between reading the room and like kind of adjusting yourself to the room.
Absolutely.
But I can still be myself and kind of tailor my personality.
Well, there's certain situations that don't call for my intense personality,
Yeah.
right? You know, like the gym, absolutely, go crazy. You know, and that's what I'm trying to teach my son right now. And it's very much the same concept, right? Like, you can adjust yourself a little bit here and there, but you're not changing the core of who you are.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah. And people are still getting the real Nadia, just maybe a little quieter version that evening, or a little bit more subdued, or, you know, a little more internal, or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. Bro,
And
I
you
can
have
stop
to-
this episode right here.
Like the final step of that is you have to be okay with someone not liking you.
Yes, which is so much easier said than done. Yeah, that's something that I really work on.
It gets easier when you get older because you'll have more people that will burn you, especially in sobriety, because you'll recognize it more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then also, you just don't give a shit.
The other
Like
thing
it's
too,
wasted energy.
Yeah.
the one thing I've realized about that is when people rib me up for the path that I'm on, it's because they're f***ed up, not me.
Oh, 100%.
It's because they're jealous of the road that I'm on, you know, and they maybe don't understand it, or they're afraid to ask questions. It's, you know, it's just so far from them. It's happened many times. It's happened very close to me. It just happened recently,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just like, all right, now I know who you are. F*** you.
Yes.
And move on. That's
Exactly.
That's awesome. It's all they do you such a big favor when they do that.
Exactly. 'Cause now I know who you are. Now I know your honest opinion, and I don't want you in my life.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it really, to bounce off that, it really tests like who in your life is
True.
true. Yeah, because the courage to be disliked is essentially setting boundaries of who you are and showing them that true person. And
Well, and
sometimes
who you-
people won't like that.
Right.
And the ones that stick around are the ones that will sit there and initially, you know, this is maybe specific, but initially will say, no, I don't agree with that, or I don't like that. But then later we'll come back and ask you more questions about it and try to gain understanding with why that might be.
Yeah. Well, and this individual didn't even tell it to me. You know, it was to somebody behind my back that told me.
No, yeah.
Just like, dude, that's,
Yeah, and that's even
you know, and it's like zero, like you said, zero education, won't listen to the podcast, won't come to me. And it's just like, you, dude, like, I got no time for that.
yeah.
Zero.
Yeah, I want to put my energy into people who appreciate that energy, and it's wasted energy trying to convince everybody to like me.
Have you ever heard of the 80-20 rule?
No.
So 20% of people make 80% of the money, right?
Yeah.
Like 80% of people are going to like you for what you do. The other 20 are going to hate you, right? There's like this weird balance in life, 80-20, you know, and it's like 80 is usually positive, but there's going to be a 20% that's not the direction that you want to go.
Yeah, and something that I'm told consistently is like if everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong. And sometimes I like have to think about that. Like I've gotten so much better at not needing to be liked in my line of work because I work at Harmony Recovery, the rehab center in Estes Park.
Oh, nice.
And it was a hard lesson to learn that like because I really love like the people that I meet. I love the clients. I want them to get healthy and stay clean. And I'm not there to be their friend. Exactly. Like sometimes what I needed when I was in treatment was that hard, like, no, you have to follow the rules. Like the world does not revolve around Nadia. Like you have to, I don't know.
You got to plug into the system.
Yes, exactly. Like I wouldn't have benefited from just being enabled, because that's something that like just made my addiction worse, was being enabled by the people that loved me. And that's not their fault, because they didn't know how to not enable without like not loving me. So I have to remind myself that like, no, I'm not here to like just be their friend and like be super liked all the time. Like some people are not gonna like me, and that's okay.
And it's when you're on the right path and people hate on you for it, that's just confirmation for me
Yeah.
that I am moving in the right path, and one that they've probably got some things that they need help with.
When you're sober.
When you're sober.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're sober.
Well, take us back into your rehab experience a little bit. So you connected to it immediately.
Yes, I connected to treatment really quickly. I just have to include this. The very first day that I was there, I made a bracelet and I tried to make it say sober, but I did it wrong. So I have a bracelet that says Rebos. And I think that like perfectly captures like kind of like my detox experience. But yeah, I looked at rehab as an investment. I'm like, it's hard to leave your life behind for a month. Like,
Totally.
So, but I knew that my life was not going where I wanted it to. So I'm going to invest all my time and energy into this month so that hopefully I can be healthy. And I think this is where my perfectionism kind of has really benefited me, is like I was so determined to be in that percentage of people who stayed clean.
Yeah. And that's mindset, right? Like, that's just, yeah.
What is that percentage?
I've heard a million different numbers. I mean, I've heard like 1 in 10. I think for
Like 1 in 10 relapse? Or go back to rehab?
Oh, no, 1 in 10 don't.
Don't go back?
And I've heard numbers like that are even smaller than that. I think what I was told in treatment was like 1 in 4.
I think that's what I'll remember too. Which is still too high, dude. That's just, why do you think that is?
Because addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful. It's a solution that worked for a period of time and then stopped working. And life is going to, like, life hits people in the face. And sometimes it's just easier to get that instantaneous relief and that wave, like washing over of like no anxiety and all this. And it's that memory of when it was good. And the brain actually forgets how shitty it was. Like, it forgets how shitty detoxing was. It forgets all the bad things that it, like, at least the way that you felt.
Yeah.
But it hangs on to that, like, to the high, which is so unfortunate.
Do you think people like suffering?
I think it's comfortable for some people. I do.
To suffer?
Yeah.
I only ask that question because I love suffering. I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
That's
but you're
fair.
also the kind of person that realizes that pain produces good results.
That's why I asked the question.
And yeah.
Because in that note, like, I don't know, I don't know how to articulate it, but I know what you mean by the fucked up brain, because we all have the same one that, it's good. Not that I want to go back to the pain of alcohol, but you have to go through hard times to be stronger on the other side.
I don't think pain is suffering.
Boom.
Okay, there is a difference. Yes, 100%.
I think that Yeah, I think there's a really big difference. Pain is a catalyst of growth. That's why they call it growing pains. And, yeah. But suffering is like hanging on to that. So
It's like living inside of pain.
yeah. And I think that the chaos of addiction becomes so comfortable because that's what is known. So even though it's not necessarily enjoyable, it's something that, like,
Safe.
yeah, it's safe. Like, it's uncontrollable, but controlled. Like, I can control that my life is going to like, I know what to expect, but I don't know what to expect when I am, like, doing well and being happy, and that's where self-sabotage comes in. But I think there is something to be said about enjoying a little bit of pain, enjoying a little bit of suffering. It makes me appreciate the good times more, and I do think it's a catalyst for growth. But something like recently what I went through was I haven't been as happy. Like, my pink cloud has fully gone away, and I felt like I was just sad and struggling a little bit. And it's like, I don't deserve my recovery because I'm not happy all the time, and I have so much to be grateful for, and I'm doing, why don't I just feel amazing? Which is totally not what I preach. Like, I tell people, like, it's gonna get hard, but that like expectation I put on myself that I need to be happy all the time and trying to be happy all the time was actually suffering.
That's the cool thing about positivity. Once you try to figure out what that word really means, because you're gonna feel like all the time. It's getting up. It's, I guess, the easy way to describe it is when you don't want to get up out of bed, you do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the alarm goes off at 4, you get up and go.
Yeah.
Oh.
And maybe not 4.
You're gonna be stoked when you whatever.
Yeah, I know.
But like, that's the time you get up.
Yeah.
You do it yourself. You don't need anybody else to do it for you. Right? Just saying.
We're working through that, okay?
1% better every day, my friend.
You know, she's actually not waking me up anymore, so.
See?
Yeah.
See?
And I can tell you why. It's actually pretty dope. But it's about Nadia. We'll tell you after this.
I just like that because I think you're a very positive person.
Yeah.
But you're not. You're losing. You don't need to have that happy-go-lucky. Everything's great. You know, no one likes Russell Wilson because he was just toxic. There's toxic positivity.
Yes.
And then there's just being positive.
Yeah.
Have that mindset, and you're going to get through those tough times.
Yes, exactly. And that is exactly what happened. When I let myself feel the emotions, they do pass through me. And I don't have to be this like dark cloud, like everything is terrible all the time. Like, I can still use my tools. I can still be grateful for things and be sad, like, and not feel awesome all the time. Like,
But I think it's important to let those emotions come and go, right? Like, you know, it's part of humanity.
yeah.
Part of being human.
Yes.
It's over too, dude. You have to feel those and work through them.
Exactly. And I think that when I was like, I don't deserve my recovery, then I thought, and I was like, no, honestly, like, it's just like people say, like, when things are going good, it's really easy to be like spiritual and to be sober and to do all these things. It's when it gets hard that is the real challenge. And it's like, no, I can feel all of these things and I don't have to numb it out. Like, I can get through it because I'm human and I'm strong enough to get through it and to grow from that. Yeah.
It's crazy, right? Like, you think of the term mental health. Very common term.
Mm-hmm.
But the first word in it is mental, right?
Yeah.
We don't really know a whole lot about our brains.
No.
You know, scientifically, like, they are pretty unbelievable. I don't even know if this is true. I'm not even going to say it because I don't know if it's true, but it's wild, man. Like, our thoughts and our brain and everything. I mean, there's people out there that think that our thoughts actually create reality.
Yeah.
You know, and like, that's how powerful our brains are. That what we put into our brains actually creates our reality. So we're not always responding to things consciously, right? We're actually creating things like with our conscious mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's wild.
So I want to go back about that input.
Mm-hmm.
I fully believe what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what this book, Dan Brown's new book, Secret of Secrets, the whole book is about consciousness and about that idea. You know, and the science behind it, it's super interesting.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's like everything that you've said in here ties back to neuroplasticity. Every single thing, right? Recreating pathways in your brain, right?
Yes.
Getting rid of the negativity, understanding it, right? Talking about it. That's the number one way that you understand trauma is you bring it up.
Yeah.
Talk about it. This is what it did to me. This is what it's still doing to me. What am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
And you talk through it, right? And you shift things around in your brain.
And that reminds me of compassion. Like, I think people kind of mix up compassion and empathy. But I think it's in the Recovery Dharma book. Like, the definition of compassion is being willing to get close to pain and understand it. And I think that has really spoke with me because it is like it goes back to that mask. Like, I want to be positive all the time and I want to lift people up, but like, that's not the reality. And toxic positivity can be so damaging. So getting to know that pain makes me more human and makes me more useful to others and to myself, because I'm able to sit with it, feel it, know it's like, this doesn't feel good, but I don't really think there's bad emotions. I think there's challenging emotions. So
You might be one of the most discipled people we've ever had on here. Like, that's crazy. You know, that definition of compassion, that's perfect. You know, and that's what most addicts do after recovery, right? They practice that kind of compassion by being willing to go into other people's pain with them and help them understand it.
yeah,
You know,
The people in their lives too don't have a lot of compassion for us
right?
because they don't know how to relate to it, so they can't get emotionally close to help us through it. I think that's part of the problem of, you know, you could have a parent that would say, all right, go to rehab, you.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Doing it with you.
oh my God, Rena?
Oh yeah,
Jim in that story.
Yeah.
That's the perfect example of compassion.
for sure. You know, and that's what we try to show through this, right? And through reaching out to other people. And boom, that rocked me, dude. That's like so good. Like, totally blanked my mind off.
Yeah, I mean, outside of all the maybe unless you had more questions, I'm going to say outside the bombs of the knowledge you dropped, what else do you want to share with people? I mean, I guess, here's a good question. In rehab, what is something that it kind of boils down to, in, if you could say in just a couple sentences?
you get in what you put out. Like, what you put into the program, you get out. Like, the best rehab in the world could not get someone sober if they don't want to be. The worst rehab in the world could get someone sober if they did, if they really, really did. And also, now a lot of treatment centers are 30 days. That's not long enough. It's just not. Like, that's why aftercare is so important. Like, I'm really grateful that I went to rehab. I needed that. I needed that separation from my life. But if I had not done everything that they told me to do, sober living, changing, something I heard that I really took to heart was like, the only thing I have to change is everything. If I didn't do that, if I didn't put that kind of effort into my recovery for months afterwards, like, I wouldn't be here today, because life has become lifey, as people say. And like, there have been challenges where I have to play the tape forward and recognize that there's nothing that taking a drink will do better will make better.
Right.
It might for 2 minutes, and then I know that shame and guilt will come in tenfold. So, I don't know. I think that's the most important thing. And like, something else another like bomb knowledge, I guess, that I think about a lot is like, my expectations of people or of myself are premeditated resentments. Because then it gives me a reason to like for things to not go the way that I planned them to go. And it just increases that possibility to get frustrated and to get mad. And I don't know. I think grace has been the biggest thing that I need for myself always. Even like I have to give myself grace about giving myself grace. Like I want to be perfect at like not being perfect. And I have to recognize like I have 23 years of place of this habit, and I have to allow myself to be human and work through that, but not have it be like a switch. Like as much as I know it, it's different to move from my head to my heart. And that's going to take time, and sometimes I can't control that all the time. So
Yeah, and I mean that's like one of my favorite books right now is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, and it just talks about other people and allowing them to be who they are, right? Like having the expectation that person's going to be who they are. And I love what you said too, like expectation is premeditated resentment. I mean, that's, again, I can think about that one, but like, because that one's in my head. I understand what you mean, but I'm like, again, I'm having the hard time taking that one down here. Like, because it makes sense, but I'll just have to play through that one a little bit more.
yeah.
Ask you this, dude, just on that note, because I say this and most people don't agree with it. If you have zero expectations of anybody,
How do you have zero I don't think that's possible.
if you didn't show up today, it wouldn't bother me because we'd roll anyway.
It's a really powerful place to be.
I don't
I don't know if I'll ever get to
I don't
that
think
place.
I either.
I know it's hard and it gets people, but once I got that and understood it, I'm like, yeah, because you shouldn't be relying on anybody or anything,
Yeah.
And
I don't know. It would piss me off if we set this whole thing up and you knew about it and you just didn't show up or didn't text me. Like, I do have this small expectation of communication.
Well, a man does what he says he's gonna do.
I agree, but not all men do that.
Great, let him.
And that's the thing. Like, if it's, I don't know, dude. I think if it's impacting,
I know that would twist your noodle,
Yeah,
dude.
dude,
That's why I asked this. I know, but like, but you don't overcomplicate it.
well, I'm trying not to, but it's my brain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't, like, I'm with you on that. Like, I don't know. I think I'm just full of expectations.
Yeah.
Like, I have expectations of God, and like myself.
He created you.
And what?
He created you. Why would you have expectations of him?
Plus, it's in His Word that if we pour into the relationship with Him and we follow His voice, that all of these things will happen to us. All of these positive things, they're called the promises of God, right? So yeah, I do have an expectation that if I go down this road and I submit my life to the Word of God and following that, then yes, my expectation would be that those promises get fulfilled in my life. Now, they may not be what I think they're going to be,
Yeah.
right? Which is fine because, everybody knows God works in mysterious ways. But I'm plugged into, like, whatever it looks like upstairs. I'm a vessel and I'm willing to move forward. And I may not understand all those promises, but I also know that I have desires in my heart, and then it also says in the Bible that you go down that road, you submit, you do those things, that the desires of your heart will be met.
Yeah. I see where the expectation comes in with that, but I think that more of it is faith. Like,
Yeah, probably.
because especially if you release that expectation of like, this will happen the way that I want it to, like if you truly believe that, I think that relies on faith more than anything.
I think I need to look, and I know the definition of expectation, but like read it, like to really physically read it, because I honestly think those two words are very congruent.
Yeah.
Faith and expectation. Faith is moving in a direction expecting that this will happen.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And yeah, that's a really good point.
But I think that if you have these expectations to the point of resentment, like I don't necessarily focus on expectations, right? I focus on how I feel towards other people, right? And I'm very honest, especially with my wife, like lately, like, hey, I'm having these resentments. And, like, I think for me too, like with my folks and like just everything, you know, like there was a lot. That was the biggest thing that I had to work through, was not blaming other people and not being resentful towards being in situations that were enabling, you know, and things like when they shouldn't have been. Like I was 19 years old, didn't know any better, you know, but there was adults involved in it that should have known better, you know, and so my resentment lied there. Like it was easier for me to point my finger at them than it was for me to point it at myself, right? That's why step forward was so hard for me, because I had to like, what's my role in this? And I'm like, I was a kid, you know, like I don't have a role in that. And then my A sponsor's like, well, you're up. Like, that's not right. You do have a role in it. And until you can identify it and accept it, you're not going to move past this step.
Yeah, that makes sense. Something I'd like to bring up too on that, because like there are resentments that were a kid, and like for example, I had a resentment I had to work through where I was sexually, and my sponsor was so wonderful with that, and she was like, let's tread very lightly around this. Like, this is not a like blaming you for like something wrong that happened to you. She was like, let's look at this more as, what did you do that kind of led to this? What, like, so that in the future you can catch those patterns before a situation like that. Like you can notice those red flags. And a lot of it was like people pleasing, like not wanting to say no, and like, I don't know, like not trusting my intuition. And those were kind of my roles, rather than like, it is my fault that this happened.
Right.
Like it was like, oh, like though it wasn't my fault, there were things that I did leading up to this that I could avoid in the future. And I think that that was really powerful for me, because there in the book it says like justified or fancied resentments. Like some things are kind of like valid,
Justified, totally.
but they're still just as dangerous. They're just as dangerous as fancified.
And it's what takes, you know, it's releasing your own heart, right? It's unloading those rocks from your own backpack. What helped me with my resentment was to understand other people's stories.
Yeah.
Where they came from, what they were dealing with, right? Empathy. And that's where it was like, it really changed a lot of perceptions for me, like with my dad. You know, like I grew up with a dad that was a Mennonite pastor for 35 years. They didn't have a good relationship. You know, and then it's like, and then that forced me to focus on all the things that they did do for us, right? We had a great life. We lived in a wonderful house on 3 acres on a lake. Like that was how we grew up, you know, like we had everything that we needed. Plus my parents gave us an incredible life, you know, but in my alcoholic brain, I'm like, well, you gave us this whole great life, and now I have this expectation that my life's going to be that way, and I can't fulfill those things for myself. And it's up, dude. It's so crazy. But really in reality, it's like, no, dude, like he's just dealing with the deck of cards that he had.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, my dad's not a very open person, so it was hard for me to like understand that story. I had to go to him multiple times and talk to him about it, but it helped, you know? And it was just like, okay, now I can understand that, you know? And I can understand like alcohol was never a part of my dad's life, right? Like my mom, different story, but my dad, Mennonite, dude, they're Amish Mennonite. Like my great grandparents left the Amish church on Rumspringa.
Wow.
You know, like, so that's how they grew up, like zero alcohol. And even all the way up into when we were kids, like they didn't drink until we were probably 17, 18 years old. But when they did, it was like the floodgates opened.
Yeah.
You know, and so there was a lot of resentment in that. But going back to understand that story makes a lot of sense to me. Right? And I'm able to justify that.
Yeah. Recognize that everybody is human. Like I need to give people grace.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think surrender and acceptance are really important. Going back to the faith, like surrendering the story of how I think things should be or expect things to be.
Well, dude,
But then
honestly,
having that blind faith in like higher power or God or Jesus or whatever your choice of belief is, to me it's all the same.
Yeah.
But to surrender my will and my power to thee.
in my life.
Will in my life. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think something that I've really gotten to a place of, because I grew up in the church, and I don't necessarily have like religious trauma, and I'm grateful for that. But there is a lot of expectation in the church, and a place that I've gotten to is I cannot define my higher power, because then I feel like I'm controlling it, because I don't know the intricacies of the universe, and all I know is how I feel, and like it just really is undefinable. Sometimes I feel a female presence, sometimes I feel a male presence, sometimes I don't feel any sort of gendered presence, and it's the universe and it's nature. Like, it's so complex that I feel like I can't have any expectations for it, because I have no idea.
Yeah.
All I can do is trust.
And I think that, yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, I think too, like, we just had a very skewed idea in the church of who God, Christ was, you know, and I think today, I don't know, the churches that we have at least gone to have been a little bit more like not fear of God, you know, fire and brimstone kind of stuff. And it's caused us to go back through the Gospels, you know, really read about the life of Jesus. Like, what was he actually saying?
Yeah.
You know, and it's love God, love people. Mm-hmm. You know, and I can't necessarily define God either. You know, it's something that I'm kind of more on your realm, dude. Like, I believe Jesus died on the cross for our sins. Like, I believe that there's eternal life after this. I also believe that we're all worshiping the same God.
Yeah, that's
You know, I really do. I just think that man put their twist on it, and you know, that is what it is, right? We're humans. We everything up.
Well, there's some things that the human mind simply cannot comprehend.
Exactly.
And free will is, I think, the biggest gift. And it creates a lot of chaos, and it creates these separations, and like it can lead to more negative things. But I think it's also the greatest gift that we were ever given was our free will.
You know, and the way I've always defined, dude, the way I've been moving is like, I just get this electricity in my body, you know, and it's like, I get goosebumps, and it's like, and it doesn't go away. It'll be there for 15, 20 minutes, you know, and it's like, okay, like that's something, whether it's, you know, this connection, whatever, dude, like I just define it as this spiritual connection, right? Like that's God, like moving you in the right direction, or whatever you want to define it, you know, but it's a feeling, you know, and it's this intense feeling of like, I've got to move in this direction.
Yeah, dude.
Gut feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's even more so than like, dude, I could go on for hours about this stuff, but yeah. And it's like, I can point to 3 or 4 instances in my life in the last month that has happened, and wonderful things are being produced because of following it.
Yeah.
I mean, this podcast is a great example of that, you know? So, dude, I'm floored, honestly, right now. Like, this is, like I say this every week, but like, this legitimately is probably one of the most insightful conversations that I think we've had in this podcast. Like, you might be, how old are you?
23.
Dude. Come on.
Yeah, I think your emotional
man.
intelligence
Yeah.
should be celebrated.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Because I think it from so many people who are emotionally as smart as you, they would be so much ready to quit fast. That's one of my little missions here, is to get people from when they know they have a problem until they're ready to give it up.
Yeah.
It could be years, DUIs, car crashes, later. You know, and it's hard to pinpoint it.
Yeah, and it's hard because it is all like, I just feel like it's a tapestry, because some people, like my sponsor says, like you choose your bottom, and I think that is true to a degree, but also like the variety of the human race is so beautiful. Like, thank God there's not like a million little me's running around. Like,
The earth probably wouldn't exist anymore.
I'm intense, and like I think too much, and like that has helped me in so many ways. But also, like, my story can touch certain people, but it also might not touch a lot of people, because like I didn't have those DUIs, and like I have so many yets that is something that I fear when I share my story, like that people aren't going to see me as someone who has suffered enough. But it's like, no, I did suffer enough in my own way.
Right.
Like, because I chose that I suffered enough. And people's pain tolerance and level of suffering all differs, and everybody's story has...
Good point, because you see the kids in the mansions and up in Cherry Creek and all that stuff, and they do the same shit that we do, and on First and Really, man. It's
Yeah.
Well, and I don't, if anybody ever were to say that, like,
just ignorant.
yeah, it is. I mean, you're just full of wisdom, dude, and you're a very smart human being, right? And I think the emotional intelligence, right? Like, I've always felt like I was very emotionally intelligent, and I think that's why rehab stuck for me on the first time.
Great. Yeah.
Because I was able to be like, oh shit, and it awoke in my heart, and it just kind of gave me these passions and these things that I never really had before, and this energy that I'd never really had before. So I just, honestly, I can't thank you enough for the things that you said, for your story, your vulnerability. I mean, for 23 years old, man, if I had half of the brain like you did when I was 23 years old, like I would have probably been sober by 24, but
So I should sober 20.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's so awesome.
There was one more thing that I want to
Yes,
share.
please.
So I shared that I was like in a cappella and stuff like that. My rock bottom happened, like my main rock bottom happened at a theater show. I was asked to leave because I was drunk Cinderella. Yeah. I know. Still, I can laugh about it now, but like if I think about it too much, it still is like...
You get the shame shivers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I actually have an audition coming up next week. I'm auditioning for Fiddler on the Roof. And I just want to say, like, the biggest thing, like, no matter what the outcome of it is, the greatest gift is that I'm allowing myself to try again.
Hell yeah.
And I think that's like the biggest thing is like, we do it. Everybody deserves a redemption.
And multiple.
Or multiple, and like it's important to allow ourselves to experience those things again if that's what we're passionate about. Like, I don't want to punish myself over and over and over again for the rest of my life. Like, what happened was terrible. Like, it sucked, and people deserve to be like, have a right to be upset and mad, and I deserve to get back into it and have that redemption arc and allow myself to enjoy my life. So
Absolutely. 100%. And that's, well, what a great way to wrap this up, man. Like, it's so true. And you could take that even to the human experience, right? Like, you deserve another shot at being a father, a husband, a co-worker, whatever it is in your life that's important, like, you do deserve that, and you can do that. And there are tons and tons and tons of people that would literally jump on your back to help you.
yeah.
And that's the thing that I love about this community, dude. I mean, you've got all these crazy people that are getting sober, and it's just like, dude, if we could get 300 people moving in one direction that are sober, that used to be alcoholics, like that, I think could be one of the most powerful movements in our country. So
I completely agree.
yeah. But is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so. Just like, I'm super grateful that I got to be here and have a conversation with you guys.
Likewise.
Like, I've learned a lot, and yeah, I feel like I got more comfortable. Like, I think you could probably see in my body language, like, me shift from like nervous to like feeling a little more calm.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you found your comfort zone. And I mean, this is so cathartic, man. We love it. Like, and these stories that we get to hear are just so unique and individual, and honestly, at 23 years old, I'm 39. Like, thank you for what you said, because I just gained so much wisdom, just from the few comments that you made. So I really appreciate that. And did you want to add anything else? You picked a good one, bro.
Thanks.
Yes, I just loved it.
No, I don't think so. Just, yeah, gratitude. Thank you.
For sure.
Let's end with the gratitude prayer. Thank you, God.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in this week. Nadia, Zelenbaba, what a great episode. I can't wait to listen to this one. But again, I'll just plug it. Get on our socials, man. Follow us, subscribe. Like, we are just trying to get the message out that there is a massive community of people that are willing to help. They want to help. And I mean it when I say, like, when I met Rena Bindi, she legitimately jumped on me. Like, it was like, I have to talk to you. I was in the middle of a conversation. Those are the kinds of people that are out there for you, that want to help you. And we're just trying to bring some light to this, destigmatize this whole process. So, as always, you guys can reach out to us. Not hard to find us. We're here to help in whatever capacity we can. So, again, Nadia, I just want to say thank you so much for today. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Well, with that, we'll see you guys next week.